Hello, my name's Peter Miller. I was born and raised in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I'm currently completing my student teaching internship at North Pole High School in the content area of biology. This is the story of my 18-day rural teaching practicum during the winter of 2018 in the village community of Nulato, Alaska. Before I left for my trip, I tried to prepare myself by talking to current teachers and doing some research about the community. What I gathered was that I shouldn't overplan my lessons before I arrived, and that I would need to adapt to local conditions, cultures, and individual students if I were going to have an impact and make a genuine connection. With this in mind, my first goal was to get to know the students, and then later I would utilize the broad variety of lessons that I had up my sleeve that I could pull out as they became appropriate. As I was flying, I reflected on many things: my packing list, the educational tools that I had brought with me, the things I had heard about, but inevitably, my attention kept falling onto the land below me. I took in the winding rivers, the towering mountains, and the vast forest ecosystem that I knew that these people had been connected to for thousands of years. I was really excited to be in a new setting with smaller, more intimate classes within a community that has strong ties to the land just downstream from my hometown. When I arrived, I was able to stay in their newly renovated school for the first week until one of the teacher housing cabins was vacated. Although the guest internet was down for most of my stay, it gave me time to explore the school and the community, which helped me prepare for my lessons the following week. I was able to observe the upper elementary classroom that I would be doing some lessons with and see how their innovative teacher wove in the local culture and language into her curriculum. I was able to observe the middle and high school science classes, which focused largely on hands-on activities in order to keep the students engaged. I was able to learn about the passion many students had for snow machines through their fascination with the Iron Dog race, and run outside and watch with all the students as the leaders passed by on the mighty Yukon River. I was able to see how the community honored its elders, its members, and its culture through displays visible throughout the school. Most importantly, I was able to attend and help out at the basketball tournament that weekend that brought in the whole community, as well as neighboring villages, in order to dedicate the gym to a Nulato native who had come back to enrich and empower his community through education. I became acutely aware of the central role of the gym within the community as a hub of activity, not only for sports and recreation, but also as a community space utilized for all sorts of events, including musical performances and dance. During my second week, I was able to settle into the school science lab as my new classroom. The walls had been painted with whiteboard paint, which I was able to utilize to display the class schedule, objectives, and vocabulary words, and use for instruction during class. I decided to focus on boreal forest ecology for the unit, mainly on successional stages and the shifting mosaic pattern of the boreal forest. I began with making personal connections with the students, having them fill out information cards and sharing my own information with them. Next, as a class, we took an inventory of all of the different things that we get from the forest, from the rivers and water, and from the store and the internet. We then talked about the different successional stages within the forest and the successional stages at which the different items we identified were present. During the second class, I projected a map of Nulato onto the wall and had the students draw on the map the trails that they often use and the places that they like to go. I knew that the following day half of the high school would be gone for the regional basketball tournament in Fairbanks, so I decided to come up with some options for independent projects for students to do while they were gone. I wanted the lessons to be interactive and hands-on and leave the students with useful things to continue working on when I left. So I brought with me some edible oyster mushrooms to grow from a box, some seeds to plant, and some compost worms to start composting their food waste. I was able to grab the students' interest and utilize the opportunity in order to teach them some science concepts and vocabulary. When the rest of the students returned the following week, we were able to pick up where we left off. I was able to connect their previous unit on fire, as well as my previous lessons on succession, to the concept of a forest mosaic and begin to talk about ecological relationships and biodiversity. During the second half of my final week teaching, I was able to get permission slips signed by guardians so that we could go outside and explore the surrounding forest in order to find examples of the concepts we had learned in class. It was during these outings that I made a real connection with the students, both personally and intellectually. We were able to share our knowledge of the forest with one another and make connections to the scientific concepts and vocabulary that we had learned in class. Students shared with me their experiences living and hunting in the forest and on the river. They told me about population densities of various animals and how they fluctuated with the changing conditions brought by the fire. They told me about the different parts of the forest and which animals you could find there. And they shared with me some of their own personal adventure stories. My experiences in Nulato helped me to see how connected a community can be. It helped me see firsthand the role education plays in empowering individuals to improve their quality of life and the resulting positive feedback loop of individuals returning to their community and further empowering those around them to follow in their footsteps and beyond. Since my experiences in Nulato, I have thought a lot about the role and purpose that education plays within a community and the ways to leverage it in order to maximize its benefits. I have no doubt that I will return there someday to learn more and continue to reflect on the experiences I had and the lessons that I learned.
Changes where we live in the form of positive, pure happiness, spiritual bliss. Positive vibration is the best medicina. Mejor medicina, mejor medicina, medicina.